power can blind a person until justice forces them to see. I never thought I'd run for HOA president, not even once. But when Karen created her so-called HOA security force, turning our quiet neighborhood into a wannabe military zone, I realized silence was no longer an option. The first night I saw them, they were wearing tactical vests, sunglasses, and even earpieces like they were guarding the president instead of mailboxes. They cruised the cul-de-sac in golf carts fitted with flashing lights, acting like real cops. And Karen? She loved every minute of it. She'd stand on her porch, coffee in hand, watching them patrol as if she were running a small country instead of a suburban HOA. That's when I decided I couldn't let her keep running the show. My campaign slogan was simple: no more fake cops, no more fear. I wanted to end her rule before someone got hurt, but I didn't realize how far Karen would go to keep her throne. The moment my campaign announcement hit the neighborhood chat, Karen lost her mind. Her reply came fast. "We can't let outsiders ruin our community." Outsiders? I'd lived there 6 years longer than her. Within hours, the smear campaign began. Flyers appeared on mailboxes claiming I was anti-safety and anti-community. People whispered that I had ties to local criminals. Some neighbors stopped waving. Others looked scared to talk to me at all. Karen's power wasn't just fear, it was habit. Everyone was used to obeying her, but I wasn't built that way. I started knocking on doors, talking face to face, telling people the truth. "This isn't about rules," I said. "It's about control." Slowly, people began to nod. A few even smiled, whispering, "It's about time someone stood up to her." The tides were turning, and Karen could feel it. Her voice got sharper, her meetings longer, her security force more aggressive. Every evening they parked their golf carts near my driveway, watching. Sometimes they'd shine flashlights at my windows. One even yelled, "Better watch your step, President." My wife was terrified, and honestly, so was I. But I couldn't back down now. Karen's temper exploded at the next HOA meeting. I stood up to speak about reducing unnecessary HOA expenses, and she cut me off mid-sentence, slamming her clipboard. "You have no idea how to protect this neighborhood," she hissed. "You'll destroy everything we built." The room went silent. I looked her in the eye and said, "No, Karen, I'll protect it from you." The applause that followed was the first crack in her armor. Her smile vanished, and for the first time, she looked afraid. Not of me, but of losing control. That night, I found an envelope in my mailbox. No return address. Inside, a single piece of paper with 2 words written in red ink. "Back off." My hands trembled, but I refused to show fear. Instead, I doubled down. I put up more flyers, more posts, more promises to dismantle her security squad. The community began to wake up. Even her closest allies started skipping her meetings. She could sense her empire slipping away, and that's when she decided to fight dirty. 2 nights before the election, my wife saw 2 figures standing near our trash cans at midnight. When I stepped outside, they disappeared into the shadows. The next morning, our car tires were slashed. A few hours later, an anonymous HOA violation arrived in the mail. Apparently, my mailbox color wasn't community approved. It would have been funny if it wasn't so transparent. I confronted Karen directly. "You think this will stop me?" I asked. She smiled that fake sweet smile and said, "Careful, neighbor. Not everyone appreciates your rebellion." That's when I knew something bigger was brewing. Election night was chaos. The room was packed, tension thick as smoke. Karen sat at the front table with her security team behind her, arms folded like bodyguards. I gave my speech, calm and steady while she glared daggers. When the votes were counted, I'd won, by 3 votes. The room erupted in cheers. Karen's face drained of color. She stood trembling and shouted, "This isn't over!" before storming out. People laughed nervously, but my gut twisted. Something in her voice wasn't just anger. It was a promise. That night, as I locked my door, the wind felt different, heavier, like the neighborhood itself was holding its breath. My wife asked, "You think she'll let it go?" I looked at her and said, "No, Karen doesn't lose quietly." They thought fear would keep me quiet, but fear only taught me how to fight smarter. The days after the election were uneasy. People congratulated me in whispers, not wanting Karen or her security team to see. She stopped attending meetings, yet her presence was everywhere. Her porch light stayed on all night, her blinds half open like eyes watching from the dark. Then the threats got bolder. My trash cans were overturned, my dog fence cut, and my wife swore she saw one of the HOA guards parked across from our house for hours, just sitting, lights off. I went to the police, but they called it neighborhood tension and told me to record everything. That night, I installed cameras on every corner of my house. I didn't sleep much. Every creak in the wood or hum from the air conditioner made me jump. Then one night, fear became real. It was 1:47 a.m. when the first bang hit the side of the house, so loud it rattled the windows. I thought it was fireworks until I heard the second one, sharper, faster, followed by shattering glass. My wife screamed. The drywall cracked inches from my head, dust raining down like snow. I grabbed her hand and dragged her to the floor. She was 7 months pregnant, shaking uncontrollably. "Stay down," I yelled, crawling toward the back hallway. Then came more shots, 3, 4, maybe 5, until silence. I peeked through the window and saw them. 3 figures in black tactical vests with HOA security patches, holding rifles, their faces half covered. My blood went cold. They were firing at my home, my family. I grabbed my phone, called 911, and screamed our address. The dispatcher's calm voice felt unreal, mechanical. "Officers are on the way," she said. We couldn't wait. I smashed the back window, helped my wife crawl outside, and we hid behind the tool shed. Her breathing was shallow, and when I touched her side, my hand came away bloody. She whispered, "It's okay." "I'm okay," but her voice broke. I held her close, trying not to panic. Sirens finally echoed in the distance, blue and red flashing through the night like salvation. The shooters ran, their truck screeching down the road. I stayed there until the officers arrived, lights flooding our backyard. One of them looked around, muttering, "What the hell happened here?" Bullet holes lined the siding, glass covered the grass, and blood stained the steps. The next morning, the news broke. Armed HOA security suspected in neighborhood attack. The story spread faster than wildfire. Within hours, the sheriff's office opened a full investigation. The evidence piled up: shell casings, tire tracks, surveillance footage from my cameras showing the attackers fleeing in a black pickup registered to one of Karen's guards. That was the start of the end. Detectives searched Karen's house and found burner phones, text messages, and even written instructions on how to scare him off. The biggest shock came from the messages between her and the shooters. "Make him back down. He doesn't deserve to run this community." It wasn't scare tactics anymore, it was attempted murder. Karen was arrested at sunrise. She was still in her robe, trying to explain to the officers that it was a misunderstanding. The image of her being led out in cuffs spread all over the neighborhood Facebook group within minutes. People who once defended her now fell silent. Her security team members were caught soon after, one hiding in a motel, one at his mother's garage, another trying to burn his truck in a field. Every one of them cracked under pressure. The investigation turned into a courtroom storm. Prosecutors built their case fast. They had messages, money transfers, and testimony from one of the shooters who flipped for a lighter sentence. He told the jury everything: how Karen ordered them to teach him a lesson, how she paid them cash from HOA funds, and how she planned to frame me for provoking them. The courtroom was packed the day the verdict came in. My wife sat beside me, holding my hand, our newborn baby asleep in her arms. When the judge read guilty, the room fell silent except for Karen's sobbing. 35 years in prison without parole. The shooters got their own decades. The judge called it a textbook case of obsession, control, and abuse of authority. When they led her away, she looked back at me once, her eyes empty, as if she couldn't believe it was over. But it was. Completely. The HOA dissolved the security force that same week. I was officially sworn in as HOA president, this time by unanimous vote. My first act was simple: ban weapons, demand transparency, and rebuild trust. Neighbors who once avoided me now waved again. Kids played outside without fear. My wife recovered, our baby thrived, and the holes in the wall were finally patched. But sometimes, when the night gets quiet, I still hear that first gunshot in my head. It's a reminder of how far some people will go for control and how far you have to go to stop them. The truth is, Karen didn't lose power. She handed it over to justice. And in the end, justice never misses.